I'm Chris from the Tabletop Game Talk podcast. And today we're going to do a reboxing of Fields of Green. As you can see, there's quite a few cards and cardboard tokens and pieces. We're going to put this away in such a way that setting it up will take us less than 60 seconds. If you wanted to skip forward and see the setup, click on the 60-second setup of Fields of Green video, and you can watch how quick it is. So, first thing we're going to do is take a look at the different bags that I'm using for setting this up. These are 4 mil, which make them really quite sturdy. They have a good feel to them. And these ones are 4x5. Most of the bags that I'm using here are 4x5, 4 mil bags. They're pretty cheap on Amazon. There's a link in the show notes if you want to see exactly what I'm using. I will use at least one 3x4, which is a slightly smaller bag. This is for these wooden tokens. So actually, let's just put the wooden tokens away first. I put all the wooden tokens in the same bag because as you're playing, you're going to be using these resources quite a bit. And there's no reason to separate them into their own different bags because that's just going to make things more complicated to set up and to tear down. So we're just going to pop all of these in here. One of the reasons I really like 4 mil bags versus the 2 or the 1 mil that are oftentimes found in the boxes is because they have a really sturdy feel to them. Once they're in here, you don't need to worry about them getting holes punched in them or anything like that. They're actually used for putting like screws and nuts and bolts and like shop type of things in there. So they're very sturdy. I can just toss them in the box and I'm not too concerned about them. Let's go back to this setup. All of my reboxings have one bag that basically says setup in it. And the setup is sort of a general, pick this one first. It'll help you lay things out. In this particular case, we're talking about the markers for the buildings. So we'll pop those in there. We're talking about the fences that count round turns as far as the first player token as well. This is the counter for the rounds. I'm also putting in the general aid. This is for intro games, gives you a little bit of an idea of what you should pick up out of here. Plus it gives you some end of game scoring. And since I'm putting end of game scoring in here, I'm also putting the end of game score pad in here. So that is my general setup. It'll be probably the first bag I grab when I set it up. All set. The next thing I'm going to put away are the coins and victory points. Again, this is something that I don't separate because they are self-separating during the game. So putting them all in one bag just makes it a little bit easier to deal with, even though I'm putting them away in separate order. If you notice, each of these bags has a very clear indication of what goes in them. When you look at the setup bag, I'm saying fences, scorecard, general player aid. Tokens is relatively vague, so I'm saying food and water. Coins and victory points make sense, so there's really no extra explanation there. The reason I do that is twofold. One, I might forget how I planned on putting this away. And two, I'm not the only person that just got done playing this game. So cleaning up a game usually is much faster than setting up a game. So I really want the cleanup, since I have extra people helping, to be something that facilitates the next setup. That's why I very clearly label all of the bags. This is another one. General. General doesn't make a whole lot of sense on the top, but it tells you water tower, silos, and open areas, which just happen to be these miscellaneous areas in your farm. And those pop in here and seal up. Cards are great to put in baggies. Don't use rubber bands. They're acidic. They'll fall apart. Trays they just kind of fall apart. This here, even if these were sleeved, they'd still fit in here. And I try to push out as much air as possible, so they're very nicely secured in this bag. Speaking of the other pieces of your farm, we have buildings, which if you look here, this says buildings. So just pop that in there. We have livestock. Pop that in there. Construction, which are these yellow ones. And finally, fields. Now, these are big enough where you can just kind of put these straight in, but if you did have a slightly thicker or taller stack of cards, if you just kind of do it at a slight angle, the bag opens up very easily and these go right in. These will fit up to about 70 or 80 cards easily. You can put 100 cards in there, they'll fan out a little bit, but the cards won't be damaged by that. You don't have to worry about it for this game because these stacks are perfect for this size. That's it. Pop these things together, pop them in there. The next piece is the equipment tiles. Now these are all cardboard chits. They're going to be a little tight in this bag, but they will fit fine. I don't have any issues with damage or anything. Just kind of shake them and they'll settle down nicely. Seal it up and you're good to go. Now, these here are expansions for the game. These expansions are optional, so I put them in their own area. This is, if you were going to use these in every game, you'd probably still just put them in their own area. This one here is just an event deck that gets shuffled and you're going to draw from it occasionally. And this one here is a start of game. You shuffle, every player gets 2, picks 1, and the rest go away. So they're pretty easy to add in, and I like keeping them optional, so I put them in their own expansions bag. Lastly, this is a little bit of everything that we just put away, but these are the starting resources and setup for a single player. This is one of the things I like to make sure I do more than anything else, is make sure that every player has their own bag. I give each player their stuff, they open it up, they can set it up themselves as I'm setting up the rest of the board. In this case, we have 15 coins, check, 1 player aid, check, 1 silo, 1 water tower, 3 water tokens, and 1 food token. These are clearly marked, so at the end of the game, my players can say, oh, I need to put all of these things in here. In this particular case, the denomination is just 3 5s, but any amount that adds to 15 is just fine. This bag has plenty of room in it, so I'm not overly concerned about, you know, how that fits in there. But these are the others. Pop them together. There we go. This is what it looks like. I'll put together. Again, this box, I took out the insert, which was just a, you know, kind of narrow insert, relatively useless, honestly, and just put plastic bags in there instead. You could easily put a smaller box, you know, put all this stuff in a smaller box if you wanted to. You could honestly put all this stuff in a backpack, whatever. It's very sturdily stored. Put the rule book in, put the cover on, and that's our reboxing of Fields of Green.